Howdy, 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 everybody, and welcome to the Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series season finale here at Sebring International Raceway. I'm Austin. I'm joined by Mary McLeod with Alex Simpson and Dennis Branch in the production booth. Larry, how are we doing today?
We are good. I'm loving this California weather. It's a whole lot better than the Michigan weather that's, maybe outside my house. This Florida, I say California, the Florida weather. It's going to be great. This place is rough and tumble, but it's going to be big. It's going to be explosive. We got a couple of great classes that are going to be shooting it out here at Sebring, and I'm loving this. Look at the palm trees. This is going to be great.
Yeah, palm trees are swaying around and the sun is shining bright here at beautiful Sebring, land of bumps and well, just history, especially in motor racing, and very nicely labeled bathrooms apparently.
Hey, it's 2020
shots. Out of all the seating shots we had to add that. We had to add on that one.
And it's Florida. You got your share of motorhomes on site. It's the way it goes.
Yeah,
but hey, we're here to bring racing action. And we're going to have a lot of that between these Mustangs and these Miatas around this beautiful, very flat, but very not so flat, bumpy Sebring road course.
Yeah, Sebring full of these bumps. The opening part of this section, it is a old airfield, so you're going to have a lot of these bumps. At Sunset Bend, it can't get more trickier than that. That extremely fast corner to a hard braking zone, then a long right-hander, and also turn one. Those are the bumpiest sections of this track, and don't forget about Hotel Hairpin. That corner very hard on the brakes, and if you just get a little bit loose, you're going to get a lockup here. So expect those Fords to have a little bit of trouble as they go around this track. What's your favorite parts of Sebring?
I love turn one. I love going into that blind turn. As you can see them kind of going through here where you're kind of apexing with the cone hanging on the fence at the top there. I love how there's a lot of passing places around this place because it's generally wide. You've got sections like, you've got your S's coming up on the back, with the Le Mans S's. You've got the Sunset Bend where you just kind of a big decreasing radius corner, all this blind under the overpass. I think this place just kind of has a little bit of everything.
Yeah, my favorite part has to be the Le Mans S's. It's a great setup spot for that long back straight, and if you get that right, you're flying down that back straight for a potential overtake. And as we see multi-class racing at its best going around here, usually famous for the 24 hours of Sebring, 12 hours of Sebring, and then a whole bunch of other endurance races held around the Sebring track. We got Miatas and Fords for y'all today in the Classic Sprint Series season finale. And this is going to be very, very fun.
Yeah, it really will. I think these classes always, they play nice together, and we've got some talent up and down the field in both of these classes. We've talked about in the last event, the last site at Phillip Island, a very different racetrack than what we have here at Phillip Island, kind of flowing, kind of undulating there down under there in Australia. This place, it is anything but undulating and flowing. This place is just flat as a pancake here in the flat section here of this old air base, but it presents tons of challenges with a lot of these blind apexes and corners, but a lot of straightaways, a lot of places for passing, and if you're in these Miatas, a lot of places to draft and pass.
It is, and let's go around for a track guide here at Sebring International Raceway.
Welcome, everyone, to Sebring, Florida, here at Sebring International Raceway. Great to have you with us today. We're going to do a track guide around the course, this 3.75 mile road course. This track was originally built back in the late 1940s, post-war. There was a gentleman that was an aeronautical engineer here at Hendricks Army Airfield, and he decided he wanted to hold a sports car event here, something similar to the 24 Hours of Le Mans. He decided to hold the event on New Year's Eve in 1950. The first event was the 6 Hours of Sebring. 2 years later, the 12 Hours of Sebring was born. As we approach Sunset Bend here, this is the final turn on the course. We're going to come out of here and take you to the stripe, and we'll get this lap underway for you. It's a very fast exit here. We'll talk more about that when we come around on the next lap. Coming down to the start-finish line, the front straight here at Sebring International Raceway. Pits are to your right. We're going to come in here wide into turn 1. This is a third gear corner in the Mustang. Going to roll that center, look for that line side of exit, get right up through the gears here. And this takes us down into this little turn 2 kink to the right, into third, and into second. This is a very complex section right here. Coming through, you gotta hug those apexes, come in wide here, allow the car to roll, let the nose set down nice to get that good launch up off the exit. Coming around Big Bend here, this is turn 6. Very fast corner, drivers love coming off this turn and down into this very, very difficult, tight hairpin. Getting down through the gears into third, back down into second here. Tight, tight, tight rotation. You want to get that car straight back out so you get a good straight launch out into turn 8 here and up into turn 9. Another fast section coming off that hairpin. You will see overtaking opportunities here. Coming down into turn 10, Cunningham corner, back down through the gears, another tight right, again change in track surface as we've got a combination of asphalt and concrete and old runway here that this track has been built on over the years and expanded to. Coming down into Tower Corner here, this is a turn 13. You want to get a good, nice launch off the exit there because this is taking us to the fast section, the complex of 14 through 16. Drivers will be wide open through here. Won't see a whole lot of overtaking opportunity, but you got to be quick. And you'll see why in a moment. Coming into 14, quick right, back to the left, pedal to the floor, lift, trail brake, off the brake, down into Ullman straight. You want to get a good fast run off this corner because this is where you can get a little bit of draft help and hopefully slipstream the driver in front of you. Heading down to the final corner here, which is turn 17, known as Sunset Bend. As you can see, that sun is glaring late afternoon here right through our windshield. Coming down into the corner, into third gear, wide apex entry. This is a closing radius corner. Let it wrap around, get a good straight launch off, take this thing right to the outside up through the gears. Get a good straight speed launch to the start-finish line. There you go. There's your track guide lap from Sebring, Florida, Sebring International Raceway.
And we are back here live at Sebring International Raceway after that beautiful lap track guide of, well, the track we're at tonight. It's the season finale, so let's go through the championship points. Arrow Knob leads GS Pro with 251 points, followed by Cameron Martineau. Don't believe Cameron can catch Arrow at the end of this race, so Arrow Knob will be your Le Champion for the Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series GS Pro category. In third is Tyler Shiflett, Kevin C4, Jeff Jacobs, Tony Kernan, Clint Vegas, David Sanders, Steve Bell, Steve Daniel, Robert Burst, Randall McGree, and Shad Curran. Larry, how is the rest of the grid looking?
The championship standings in the ST Pro, I do believe that Elvis Rankin may have had already wrapped this one up as his finish at Phillip Island last week, but I don't think it's decided behind him as John Allen comes into this with just a 1-point advantage over Travis Schwenke. 228 to 227, and Mike Dam then at 220 might be able to catch up. We'll have to see how close he can get there. In fifth, Jacob Beasley. Sixth, Chris Thorman. Seventh, David Patton. Eighth, George Fike. Ninth, Cliff Even. 10th, Robert Hartley, and 11th, Scott McClendon.
And in ST Open, Greg Mack leads that championship just by 3 points. Brendan Huron right by him, followed by Mitchell Peak, Edgar Santinelli, Mike Taylor, Derek Holland, Greg Brockway, Nicholas Power-Chanel, Michael Key, Casey Duncan, Prevenes, Eric Kistler, Ken Ladd, Jeffrey Cranston, Cummings right behind him with Lucas Ford at the end of the ST Open standings.
All right, so we are into qualifying now. This is kind of a relatively long lap around this place. It's quite the big track here, about a little over 3.5 miles around. So they've got to make it a way around to be able to start a lap. And once they get going again, kind of build up some speed. So that eat up a little bit of that first 4 minutes of their 15. We start seeing some lap times getting in the books here shortly. You can see coming down the Ullman Straight here should be Elvis Rankin.
It is Elvis Rankin coming around Sunset Bend, and he takes a wide entry to a very narrow mid corner that exits back out wide. So many ways to take that corner.
You can see that mid-corner bumps. That's one of the bumpiest corners to the entire site here. You always have to time those bumps to get a really good exit on that corner. But it's critical because this front straight it's nearly as long as the Ultimate straight, just a hair shorter. Very critical, though.
As you can see, all of our times coming in. Daniels sets the fastest time so far, followed by Elvis Rankin and Mitchell Peak are 3 pole sitters. And Rankin, after that first lap, just going to park it. After that, guess he just wasn't happy with his turn 1.
I guess not. But here with 3 laps that you can turn in, he can do that. He can go out and get one more warm-up and then get one more flyer out of it here in our 4-lap format for qualifying. We get a good shot there of Aero Nam, who walked away at Phillip Island at our last event there in this class. We'll see what kind of time
Phillip Island was not a challenge for Aero Nam at all. That track and him just really gel together, and now we're at a completely different track. Go away from the up and downs and hello to all the bumps.
Yeah, and you can see it. You can see the way the car just kind of moves around. And this is still one of the stick axle Mustangs. This is before they went to the live, or before they went to the independent suspension here. And you can just see it coming down the straightaway. A little bit bumpy, but you know that's it's a Mustang. It's what they do.
Yeah, the amount of weight transfer that these Mustangs have, you get to see the entire car just rocking back and forth, and the setups that these guys are going to be using is going to be very crucial. Even though there's not a lot to do in some of the setups for these cars. I remember whenever I do the 12 hours of Sebring here, I go into setup madness mode to get over these bumps, but
with that Mustang, though, the way you want to make it fast sometimes, you want to really try and get the back end to move around because the baseline, it's actually a little bit pushy. But around this track, one of the issues you run into is that the bumps will want to make the car get too much dancing around. And so you got to, especially a corner like what you can see right here, where Clint is coming through, again, going through this Sunset Bend. If the car is bouncy, the way this Mustang is, it's going to be really difficult to get the power down, but that's how the car is fast. Aero Nam, he makes that work. You see he's on the board, top time right now to 220.6, the only driver in the 220s until Clint Vigas does a 220 right behind him at 220.7.
Yeah, Clint giving Aero Nam a little bit of a challenge right here. We might see a big fight up front. Kevin Ford comes across the line, and he jumps up into 3rd, and he was talking with us before this race right now.
We got a good shot of him on his rig, in fact.
In what I would like to say the Millennium Falcon of race rigs. It's an extremely iconic race rig and a big dream of a race rig for anyone who is looking into race rigs. And if you do want to look into a race rig and all that stuff that goes into it, I know just the place to get it. Ricmotech High Performance Sim Racing Equipment.
Absolutely. He's got the proper livery on the car. Give them a call. Check out their website. They've got all the things you need to upgrade your rig. Regardless of what stage your rig is at, they've got upgrades for you. Even if you think you're already there, they've got something you can tack on, something you can upgrade from to get to the next level.
Yeah, Ricmotech, very good place to get any sim racing equipment need. And Kevin was talking to us before this race and saying, well, it is the last race that we're using for the Mustangs. They are not going to be here for the next time by of the Classic Sprint Series. So he's going to get one more good use out of this car, then it's on to the hauler with it for one last time. And, well, it's going to be a final memory for him.
Yeah, a little sad to see that go, as, you know, the next season we're going to be focusing on this car, the MX-5. But a little sad to see the Mustang being sunsetted here in the Ricmotech series, but it'll be a great last swan song here for the Mustangs. We got a pretty good group tonight, I think about 9 or 10 of them here racing tonight, and it's going to be a pretty competitive fight. As you can see, Aero Nam just went another couple tenths quicker, but Cameron Martineau is now at the top of the leaderboard of the 20.2. So Aero Nam, Cameron Martineau, Kevin Ford, Clint Vigas, a pretty good battle in these Mustangs. And in this type of track, and the way these corners are with a lot of these hard, tight corners, could come down to who can conserve some tires. But it certainly is not going to be a runaway in the Mustang crowd.
Yeah, the Mustang going to be very tight at the top of the field. And if I feel like it's going to be a side-by-side battle for most of this with Cameron and Arrow, and as they are just miles ahead by 2/10 ahead of third place in the rest of the grid.
Yeah. Yeah, they really are. That's it'll be interesting because again, you know, right now it's just qualifying, right? Just got to get onto the grid, but it sometimes is like that indicator of who's got the real pace once the race starts. So there's Jeff Jacobs getting a lap in, so he's just now half a second back from Cameron and Aeronam. But looking down at our Miatas right now, Elvis Rankin 225. The next closest Miata about
Mike
half a
Dam.
second back. Mike Dam, yeah, kind of waiting for Robert Hartley to put his lap down. Haven't seen the real pace there yet. And John Allen's in the session. I have not seen his lap time yet, though.
He did do one lap. It was just unfortunately invalidated.
Right. He's on his second flyer attempt now. And he may not get another one as I'm looking at the timer here, coming up on 11 minutes out of 15.
He got 4 minutes. He's currently halfway through the track with John.
On only his second lap. So he finishes this one, he might get a third, but he won't get his fourth. And
yeah, it all goes down to when you start your flying lap, and Sebring is a pretty long track for these MX-5s.
It really is, yeah. You know, running at about that 2.5 minutes around here, you know, 4 laps alone takes you 10 minutes, so you can't really dink around too long if you want to go get all 4 of your laps in. Look at the brake rotors glowing on that Mustang.
Yeah, it's just the front brake rotors too. That just shows on how much force he's putting on those front tires.
Absolutely. Cameron Martineau there, coming down the front straightaway.
Half a second. No, does not improve. Stays half a second behind Aeronam, who just again put down a fantastic lap.
Cameron just a little bit off the pace there in Sector 4. 7 sectors on this ginormous 3.6-mile track. Just a little off there in Sector 4. A little slower, about a tenth in all the other sectors to the time that Aeronam did. Just a little bit in each one. Shows you how precise Aero was to really just be half a tenth or a tenth in each one of the sectors. It wasn't really a big chunk in anywhere except maybe that Sector 4. But kind of keeping an eye here on this lap. As Kevin Ford now jumps up to second in the Mustang. So, of course, here we're watching Don Allen now starting his third lap. Still does not have one officially in the book, so he needs to get a clean one.
He does need a clean one.
Has to be this one because he only has 2.5 minutes left in qualifying. If it's not this one, he'll be starting from the back. He'll be starting behind that guy named Stewart R. Ray Stewart.
I believe Ray Stewart is always put to the very back of the grid. I have yet to see a driver listed behind them.
But yeah, the pressure's on, and I know John Allen's he's a veteran of this, does a lot of the sim racing, but sometimes it gets in your own head to say, oh, well, I can't put a tire off. And some of these corners he's coming up to now are the areas where you do tend to just sort of want to cheat the corners a little bit, coming through. I think he's coming up to 13. Maybe this is 10 here.
He's coming up to the right-hander that followed by the left-hander, right for the saving sign.
That's 10 there.
Where I always lose it.
Rounding 11. 12 and 13 is the spot where a lot of people hang a tire off on track left.
Oh, that's close.
That looks good, though. It's looking good so far. The other spot you tend to get a 1X is coming up here in the Le Mans S's. Looks good.
Ooh, gets a little bit loose right there. Take it easy off the exit. Oh, that's out.
Really close, but I think he's okay.
Got onto the grass right there, but I'm not sure
it's gonna be
that
close.
it was counted out right there. We're going to find out.
It's either a lap of laps or it's going to be a 1X. We're not sure. But the bogey time, just to put you a reference here, is Elvis Rankin's 2:25.8 is the time he's shooting for.
Well, in every sector except for Sector 5, he went green in.
Well, since he doesn't have a lap, I guess they're all personal best, right?
Well, he did set sector times, and he's going to come across the line. It's going to be third for John Allen.
All right. Well, position-wise, that's what you want. In a draft track like this, you just want to be in the front couple of rows there in the Miata mix. You don't really worry too much. You just don't want to be back at the back of the pack. When you've got the pace of a John Allen, you want to be up there with Mike Dam, Elvis Rankin. And the one that surprised me here is Hartley. Right now looks like he's going to start in that Miata field about 7th or 6th. So let's go through those starting lineups. You want to start?
Aeronam starts up on pole ahead of Cameron Martineau by 2 tenths, followed by Kevin Ford, Clint Vegas, Jeff Jacobs, Tony Kernod, Steve Dale, David Sanders, and Robert Burst are top 9 in the Mustangs.
All right, starting out in our Miata crowd, it's going to be Elvis Rankin, followed by Mike Dam. John Allen will be starting 3rd in the Miatas, followed by we got let's see, Mitchell Peak, Travis Schwenke, Robert Hartley, Greg Mack, Jordy Fike, David Patton, Brendan Horan, Chris Thorman, Jeffrey Cranston, Mike Taylor, Edgar Sentinelli, Greg Brockway, Derek Holland, Michael Key, and Patrick Prevenus. And that Stewart guy.
I know, that Stewart guy. We see him everywhere, but he's never on track. But he always impacts the race sometimes.
All right, so this is interesting. Is they'll come down this front straightaway, separated packs, of course, and it's a bit of a funnel, a bit of a bottleneck going through that turn 1 into the turn 2-3 complex, and that's always a really dicey move, especially in the Miatas, the way they draft. Everybody wants to lead coming out of that turn 3 left-hander. Who's got the patience to just sit it out and wait, sort it out at the next set of corners? That's really going to be how this is going to be decided, whether it's a sloppy start or a clean start.
Yeah, heading into turn 2, it's so tight, so narrow. A bunch of races are ended there. I know a lot of people say, hey, you got to make it through turn 1, lap 1. Here it's, I got to make it through turn 2, lap every single lap of the race, especially when you're side by side with somebody. I've seen so many races and so many laps where there's always a car off at turn 2.
Yeah, so really it's that turn 2 and actually turn 3, I guess technically, is where they'll start to bottleneck up. If they survive that, the other spot on this first lap that gets tough when you've got a big pack of cars, like we've got ourselves about 19 Miatas, for example, is turn 7, which technically they call the hairpin. It's at the end of the second straightaway, the big bend into the next long straightaway. That's where because that's the next drafting zone. So even if you have the lead coming out of the first couple of S's, you get going into there, suddenly you'll have 2, 3, or 4 cars on your tail. Who's got the patience to wait it out there and let things sort out? Because on that first lap, everyone's still intense. The Mustangs, there's only going to be 9 of them at the front of this field. It's a little easier to sort things out, but there still could be some impatience. It's the Miata crowd, the ones that draft a little bit. Those are the ones I'm a little more concerned with. But it's why they put 4 tires on the ground and run the races, because, commentators aren't drivers. Usually.
Usually.
We certainly don't decide races, that's for sure.
That is 100% true. But Aeronam, he knows this feeling a lot, sitting at front of the Mustang grid in the last race for the Mustangs. Who's going to take that final race into the history books?
I'm sure he'll want it, but I can tell you also, Will, I think Kevin Ford probably wants this pretty bad, considering his position in this series and what he does for this series. He would love to go out with a win tonight in the last race of the Mustangs in the Ricmotech series. Keep your eye on him and how hard he works to try and stay at the front of this, near the front of this pack. It's a tall order, the speed that folks like Cameron Martineau and Aeronam have, but Kevin would love to do that. Certainly a podium is certainly not out of reach for him, considering where he's starting, but he definitely would love that. I love the fact that the pace car tonight is a Mustang here for our Mustangs.
I believe it's always been a Mustang.
It's just, come on, don't ruin my moment.
It is a night. It is very cool to see.
It is.
It looks pretty much like the exact same car, just a giant wing on the back.
Yep. Yeah, these FR500 Mustangs, if you're sitting around and you're watching these races on Apex TV and you haven't driven this one in the sim much, go drive the Mustang. It's actually a lot of fun. They race side by side really well. You and your buddies can jump in, and on a track like Sebring, they're a lot of fun. The Miatas, you can kind of throw them around. They slide around a lot. The Mustangs don't slide a lot, but they've got the torque. They got the power. They're challenging. they're a lot of fun to really get into good racing with. But
very fun racing and very enjoyable racing, especially in the Simlax Production Car Challenge. Just don't hit any solstices while you're at it, because that's usually me driving one.
Yeah, I'll keep that out. When I see your name on a solstice, I'll just or a Mustang, either one, I'll just sort of avoid that.
I'm not that dangerous of a driver.
All right, so this is where they queue up now, coming down this Ullman Straight down to the Sunset Bend. As Aeronam will gather this field up, and he'll get to decide once they reach their marker point and they get their green lights, how patient is the rest of the field behind them when they go into that first turn. As you can see already, the Miata's back there. Everyone's trying to get a little bit of heat in their tires, because once they gather up and they'll get their green light, we'll see how much patience, especially the folks in that 8th, 9th, 10th spots, see if they get the itch to get the 5, 6, and 7. But if the Mustangs will get the green lights first.
Yep, green flag coming out right now. The car is in the pit lane. When they come onto the front stretch, they have the ability to go green, 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 and here we go. Pedal to the metal racing. We're going to end up that sprint series with a bang here at Sebring. And what a great start. Immediately goes Kevin Ford up into second place.
Yeah, Cameron Martineau got a little sleepy there. Just a little bit sleeping there on that outside. Kevin Ford's going to jump all over that and try and get himself up in the second spot and chase down. We already got something going on behind us.
That's Clint Vigas going around and into the wall.
And he might still be there by the time the Miatas get there, because it is an Elvis Rankin leading that pack down the front straight for their green flag.
They went 5 wide off that start.
Yeah, well,
they headed to turn 1.
Let's see if they can get down to 1 or 2 wide by the time they get there. Still 3 and 4.
Oh, that's going to be a wide exit right there, getting into the grass just a little bit, but hey, they've kept it clean. Going to turn 1, heading to turn 2, a little bit of contact, but they've all kept the noses pointing, going the way of the track.
Well done by the Miata pack, as they have gone single file now as they exit turn 5, head onto the big bend. And our Mustangs here, Kevin Ford definitely capitalized on Cameron Martineau's sleepiness. Now Cameron's got to work to get past him, or they're going to have to work together to try and catch Aero Nam before Aero just completely walks away here.
Little bit of wiggle for Kevin Ford going through that right-hander as Cameron, here he comes. Kevin's going to go a little bit defensive. Cameron not going to force the issue, but you can just tell that Cameron is a little bit feisty behind that wheel. Wasn't expecting Kevin to get into them. They actually got into each other heading through turns 3. They locked bumpers just a tad bit, like a little bit of a push. But both of them continuing to fight out for that heavily sought after second place as they try to chase down Aero Nam up at front.
Can you bump draft a Mustang? We may be finding out here shortly.
The bumper's big enough.
Oh,
no! Martineau's around and into the wall.
Oh, it's just a cold tire first lap. Got a little bit aggressive on the gas coming out of that corner there in turn 16, and that's going to be tough for him.
Incredibly unfortunate for Cameron Martineau right there. No,
that is. And if that helps anybody, it helps Kevin Ford a lot. It takes the pressure off what was happening behind him, and now he can just focus on Aero Nam out in front of him.
Steve Daniels struggling to keep the grip on these cold tires through sunset bending. Did you see that giant catch that he just had?
Yeah, and I tell you what, that also, I got to give it up to the folks that were Jeff Jacobs, Tony Kernot, all the guys behind that avoided a spinning Cameron Martineau and managed to not hit anything there. So the gap is there, but no one was able to, no one took him out on his way to the wall.
Yeah, and that's probably the most Sebring-esque incident that we've seen. It's the most common place that we've seen incidents where just people light up the tires and go off in that exact spot.
It's a long straightaway. You want to get the power down, yet the edge of the grass is right there. And, lap 1, a little bit cold tires. It happens. So he's got work to do.
Too much mustard and you'll meet the wall.
Not enough bun.
I know.
I'll finish that one for you. Well, I'll tell you what.
Now I want hot dogs, dang it. Thank you.
Kevin's. All right, let's see if we've got a replay on this and see what this looks like.
On board, Cameron Martineau heading into the Le Mans S is right behind Kevin Ford. Literally his entire windscreen is just made up of just Ford Mustang. You just barely see those curves on the outside of your window. Has a bit of a wide entry. Gets onto that curb on the end. Oh,
Just
there's the
touch
grass.
the grass. Yep. Just got an edge of grass. That's all it took.
Car seems fine though.
If he touched that tire barrier, it wasn't much. So I think the car is going to be fine. Just his ego is a little bit bruised from that one.
Thorman and Peyton, side by side they go. Peyton goes very wide onto the inside. Thorman trying to hold it around the inside, but can't do it as that's George Feike. Jordy Fike around the outside and up into 7th.
Yeah, these guys will be doing this for about the next 55 minutes, the way these Miatas will battle.
Brennan Huron got very loose off that exit.
It's tough to have any discipline because these Miatas, they draft so well, and even in these little short shoot straightaways here at Sebring, you can make up a position between them. You know, in between turns 10 to 13, you can grab a spot. You know, between 13 down to like in this stretch, all the way down through these Le Mans S's, you can sometimes gain a spot if you get a good run off. You could definitely jump a spot if you get a good run off of here down the Ultimate Straight. Watch this draft. As you should see here, bit of a push here for Jordy, pushing up on David Patton. Not quite enough though. But we do see who's running second in the Miatas overall. And that's John Allen, who we had watched in the qualifying. We said how much pressure he put on himself, and he only got himself up to that third spot in qualifying. And we said, well, that's close enough. Well,
he's getting even closer.
He and Schwenke are just right on the tail of Elvis Rankin. That's all he needed to do. So with Mike Dam right up there. So that foursome has got themselves in a bit of a breakaway right now.
Yeah, they've broken away. That front pack has broken away from the rest of the MX-5s. Right around the break in the MX-5s from the Open to the Pros.
Right.
So, of course, Thorman, all these MX-5s are getting a little bit loose in the brakes, and
if there's one thing about the sim about these MX-5s is the way that they brake. I haven't driven. I now own an ND MX-5. I have not had a chance to get it out on a track yet, but I don't think it brakes nearly as squirrely as the one in the sim, because they definitely do in the sim. They're a little bit crazy in their brakes.
What year MX-5 did you get?
2019.
Okay, that's a bit newer. I think they fixed that issue.
Yeah.
These are the 2016 MX-5s that they're running here.
Yeah. Yeah, look at this breakaway pack here. And they're all going to try and stick together. And if you're at the tail of this pack, which right now is Robert Hartley, you're doing everything you can to stay in the draft of Mitchell Peak. You just don't want to lose that draft. And it's harder when you're at the tail of it, because everybody that goes further up has a bit of a push draft, and they've got the pull in the car pulling in front of them. So this pack, though, just wants to stick together and just turn fast laps. And you can see how much harder it is for the group behind them to even try to catch them.
Now, speaking of sticking together, Jeff Jacobs and Tony Kernan are straight up together right here. And Tony can definitely read that bumper sticker that says, "Let the gator eat," on Jeff Jacobs' car.
Yeah, right now,
Right.
This is quite a battle. I'm kind of waiting to see if Tony decides to make a move at some point, or how long he's going to stay patient back there.
I expect him to stay patient for at least half this race. Until we get to the other half of this race after the pit stops, we might see a little bit of progression.
You're within a car length. I don't know if you can stay patient if you're in a car length. At some point, you know what? I got to run on this corner. I'm going to stick my nose in there. He's certainly filling mirrors. At this point, you can see him just coming into 10 here, just kind of sticking his nose in that mirror to say, "Hi, Jeff, I'm still back here."
Yeah, sometimes you got to let the peacock fly.
He's trying. He's at least showing him he's there, corner after corner. And this right now is the battle for third. I mean, this isn't exactly a backmarker battle by any means. This is for a podium spot if we're 52 minutes from now. So these guys want to keep this pace, but don't want to give up an inch.
Yeah, never wanted to give up the inch, especially if there's trophies involved. And I know those podium spots are highly sought after. Speaking of highly sought after, we got 2 wide action right here in the MX-5s.
The whole gaggle of them, just constantly 2 wide, 2 wide, 2 by 2. They're going through the same stretch that we just saw the Mustangs going through a moment ago. The Mustangs were a lot more in line with each other and being patient. The Miatas, not so much.
Yeah, the Miatas get it very, very squirrely as Greg Mack gets out into the dust a little bit, and here comes Fike on the outside. Jordy Fike trying to go for the lead, trying to swing it around the outside of these double left-handers heading into the Le Mans S's. Jordy Fike takes the lead to this pack, as right behind him, Peyton and Horan get very outside of the line. And I feel like we're going to have another drag race onto the back stretch. And speaking of the back stretch, Elvis Rankin and John Allen are having a drag race, and John Allen takes the lead.
And yes, he does. And he takes that lead into the Sunset Bend curve. If he can hold this, we may actually have a new leader of the race for one of these laps. Is John Allen.
He's going to lead the lap. Right.
He is.
There it is. But here comes Elvis. He's looking down the inside. It looks like Elvis had a run coming off the corner, but he had to lift off when he got behind John Allen, so he's not going to be able to lunge it into turn 1 as we look back at our second Miata pack, led by Jordy Fike with Greg Mack right behind him.
Yeah, and these guys, their battle is no less intense. It's just funny, the front 6 are a lot more disciplined and structured. It's one pass right back in line, another pass right back in line. It's so structured. You saw the discipline and the restraint that Elvis showed to stay behind John Allen down the front straight. This pack, do you see any restraint happening with this second pack? I don't see that at all. But this group, this is the front pack now. You can see John Allen leading the way, everyone else staying dead in line. Elvis Rankin right behind him. Travis Schwanke, Mike Dam, these guys are all right in line, waiting for, unless it really presents themselves, they're just fine staying dead in line.
Something happens behind them.
Yeah, but that other group, they're a lot more fun to watch because they're every corner. They're, hey, I'm going to stick my nose out here. We're going to go 2 wide. Look at this group. They're a lot more wild card like. You know, the front group is just dead in line, disciplined. This group's going to say, I want that spot now.
You know, for a while on iRacing, my nickname was the wild card.
I could see that.
Mostly for just never knowing where I'm going to finish a race, or I'm always crashing in every corner. But hey, still.
It's a lot worse nicknames.
Yes.
No, Kernan is
like
on
Squirrely, which I
He's
believe this is the track where somebody in this series got the name Squirrely.
Oh, he's making his move. I think he's got the position. He does. Tony Kernan able to jump into third, just ahead of Jeff Jacobs. Do a nice, great move down, lose a little bit of draft down the front straight into turns 2 and 3. Now it's on Jacobs to try and chase down Tony Kernan. But
oh, Elvis down the inside, Allen around the outside. Elvis bouncing that car. You can see the tire marks coming off of it. That's how much they're getting it sliding there. But Elvis Rankin into the lead. And correction, it is David Payton. He earned the nickname Wiggly Dave here.
Nice. It could be taken so many ways. But just watch these guys, you know, again, but look at the passes that this pack makes. It's the pass only in the spot where it presents itself clearly. This pack, but yet they stay as a pack. Like, this pack hasn't separated. It's been these same 6. It's just been stuck together since lap 2. This is great.
From that angle I was looking at, Thorman almost got way out into the gravel, but he managed to keep it on the track. Greg Mack got into the gravel, though. Kicked up a little bit of dust right there. But it's Fight Mack, Peyton Thorman, and Huron, and Cranston in this 6-car pack.
Oh, yeah, something's going to pop out down here. This is just too close to not. This straightaway is just long enough in these Miatas.
We're going to see one.
Yep.
Thorman right behind David Payton going down that inside, just leaving just enough room on the outside. Greg Mack, very late move down to the inside. And how did we not see an incident right there?
I thought it was all going to end in tears. Thought someone was going to late break and we were going to see a bit of a pit maneuver, but no. These guys they've got car skills, they've got car control, and they're just putting on one heck of a show right now from front to tail of this entire six-pack of these Miatas.
Yeah, the front six-pack, yeah, that is the front six-pack versus the back six-pack. Much more aligned and focused on the longer run, but that back six-pack, ooh, that is a scene.
Yeah, it is, and it just it really is a display in two different races going on, but they're very different levels of excitement. A little bit of a correction there for Mike Dam in mid-corner. You saw that as a little bit of tire hanging out there for Travis Schwenke. Yep. And that was probably picking up a 1X.
Well, yeah, that's definitely 1X right there.
Yep.
And here comes Dam on Schwenke as we go back to the wild side of the MX-5s. Little bit of separation for the front to Mac Payton as Thorman and Haran trying to get up close to them, and I feel like the teammates are going to start bump drafting here. And as soon as I said that, he poked his nose down to the inside.
Different lines, and that's one thing about this pack. They all have slightly different lines, about maybe a car width difference of their lines, but they're all turning about the same lap, so they can't really get away from each other. Yeah,
the draft on the MX-5 is so impactful on these cars. With the open back end, the amount of turbulent air that's getting popped off of, it is one of the most draggy cars here on iRacing. As we see Payton looks down the inside of Greg Mack. They're going to go side by side. Payton's got this move right there. He's got the setup.
Thorman's not going to let him in either.
Two.
He's going to force him to stay side by side.
Ooh, Thorman getting all the way in there. They're going sideways mid-corner. They're still sideways.
Yep. Oh no. Thorman's going to be wide. Is he going to catch it? Nice catch.
Oh my goodness. And they stayed in the exact same order. And with that fighting, here goes Payton once more.
Yeah, that's beautiful stuff. But these cars draft so well that Greg Mack still can't get away. Even after all
around the outside of his teammate. Who's going to have the advantage? It's going to be Thorman. Man, what a fight we got going on.
I still don't think Greg Mack can get away. I don't think there's enough going on behind him. It's going to be close.
It's about 6/10. He's got the lead as we see David Payton down the inside of Haran. Payton stays in that spot after his teammate got past him. A little bit of separation in the back six. Let's head back up to the front six.
As Elvis able to just do a little bit. That, you know, you may be able to pull 6-7 tenths out, but once you get to that Ullman straight, that's just all gone. Because they're coming up to here as they come to the Le Mans S's.
Very sideways.
The way you got to drive these cars, a little bit of slip angle. It's 8 tenths coming onto the straightaway, and the draft from behind, and the draft with a push draft too, where you got Schwenke kind of pushing Allen along. You just watch that number drop as they get on the straightaway.
2 tenths gain for Allen right there.
Yeah, picks up a lot of time. And then turns right around to the front straight. See how much more he can pick up on the front straight draft.
Probably a tenth and a half. 6:30.
Easily. Yeah. And then you got to work so hard to break a draft if you're Elvis Rankin.
Yep, straight up 0.13 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh, and Allen gets very wide.
He's right back on him again.
Exit, right back on Elvis Rankin, and well, they resumed their fight.
And we do it all over again. Isn't this great?
I love it.
Meanwhile,
it's like Christmas every lap.
Meanwhile, in our second six-pack, they're right back in line in their way again. Including, who do we have leading this group? Jordy Fike?
That would be Jordy Fike, yes.
Yep, Jordy Fike, who for a moment...
the back, Cranston.
For a moment, looked like Jordy Fike was going to take away from this pack and kind of be all on his own, but he wasn't able to.
And Payton gets a little bit onto the inside, and the front six getting very feisty in the back of it now. We got the front three, the back three, and the front six, and the back six right behind them. Sounds like we're describing holes of golf at some points.
Very short golf course.
Yeah, 12 hole.
It is Florida, so I mean, it could be golf, it could be racing. Lots of golf courses in Florida.
Ooh, Elvis Rick gets very loose right there. Got very tight off the exit. Had to catch that. And here comes Allen.
Yeah. In this area of the track, though, it's just better to stay behind. You don't want to stick your nose in, try to go side by side, entering those Le Mans. That's not a section to go side by side with somebody. It's one of the few on the track. You're just better off single file.
You just hear the tires screaming for grip, and you can also see some of the tire marks just getting let by some of these cars.
Elvis is so good through those S's and entering this back straight. He really is. I mean, Allen was probably a car length closer as they approached the S's, and then as they come out, he lost that car length. It's really, really impressive.
Well, I believe Elvis has some real-life experience around Sebring in the Lucas Oil Formula car. So that will translate over into learning some of the track as Greg Mack dives down to the inside of Jordy Fight. They're going to have a side-by-side fight heading in to the Sunset Bend. Jordy and I am going to contest that a lot.
He's got to take that behind him.
Oh, no. Big touch right there. They're still going to go sliding, and around goes Fight. Hard into Thorburn. There's a multi-car incident. 4 cars involved. Cranston involved. Cranston goes into the pit lane.
That was huge. Yeah. That's going to be some tow trucks called in for that one.
And with that massive incident, the back six has been disbanded.
I'm hearing full course yellow.
And for the second time, well, not the second time, I think the first time in the Classic Sprint Series, we have a safety car.
Right. We saw this in the GT Series, I think, a couple weeks ago at Lime Rock. But here in the Classic Sprints, we hadn't seen this yet at a big track like this. But that was a pretty violent wreck right there near the pit entry. So probably a good idea in case someone was trying to come into the pits when there's multiple cars scattered there. So we're going to bring this field full course yellow, which is going to make some interesting battles.
20 minutes into this race, and I believe
the pits are closed. So you can't
the pits
go
are
in
closed
and try,
because there was a car sent into the pits. But I believe when we go back to green, we might see some cars dive into the pits.
We just might, right? Because we're getting into that pit window range for these two cars. We're about lap 10. We should be getting a replay here in a second. Kind of show you how those two got tangled and led to the bigger mess as they were entering the front straight coming out of that bend. And
yeah, so the pit windows for both these classes are open. So we might, there definitely might be a pit.
Wow. Yeah, it was, those two just kind of got tangled. They almost got stuck together coming off of that bend and just couldn't quite get separated. And just kind of get pushed all the way out to the wall. And then when they bounced off, gathered up another car, and it just really, as cars got scattered, nowhere to go for anybody. That's too bad because that was a pretty good battle going on with that six-pack going on there.
Pits are open for our GS class, the Mustangs. There is not going to be any wave buys for anyone. This is directly from the race control. Well, as they get things sorted here at Sebring, we're going to be right back for the Classic Sprint Series presented by Proforma Elite Texas Graphics after these messages.
And we are back at Sebring as we are coming out of our full course caution here in a minute, as we had our incident there coming onto the front straight. As you can see, our Mustangs lined up, getting ready to take their green flag, as we've got our pit window open here, and there'll probably be a lot of these cars diving in to take on their fuel in just a moment. We saw a replay and saw that a couple of cars really took out that battle of the 6 through 12 or 7 through 12 spots on us. Unfortunately, kind of broke some of that up, involving drivers like Jordy Fike, who was right in the middle of all that. But what this will do is it'll gather that field all back up, including the front 6 of those Miatas, as well as the other Miatas that were still running in the rest of that pack. So it's going to be a minute here.
Pits are open.
Pits are open, and we're going to see these Mustangs all coming in. This is the time to do it. Take on your fuel.
Oh, a little bit of a different strategy for Brest.
That is interesting.
51, Robert Burst, as he stayed out, just got made the safety car, too.
Yeah, interesting. So perhaps he's thinking if this is going to go another lap or two anyway. There's a lot of Mustangs down there in the same area. Maybe he's just thinking he wants a little bit clearer space to do his pit stop, but he's going to probably be battling with a whole bunch of Miatas who will probably be doing their pit window at that point, because they're not cleared yet from the steward. But yeah, a Mustang is the safety car, just like at the start of the race, right?
And the overall leader behind the safety car is now Elvis Rankin. This is the first time I can say the MX-5 is leading the race.
Well, technically, Robert Brist is leading the race, right?
Technically, he's a safety car as well. Because I know once you're the safety car, you aren't really allowed to go into the pits.
Yeah. Well, he is leading the race. The race is Robert Brist, as he chose. Maybe that's what he wanted. Maybe he wanted to make sure he officially led a lap, and here it is. Robert Brist is your race leader. Elvis Rankin is your leader in the Miatas, waiting for his pit window to open.
Which is going to be this lap, as race control has just informed me.
As I expect this whole gaggle of cars here,
including the pace car,
and to come in to get their fuel stop. Be interesting now under this safety car with the slower packs. You know, the speculation was how many tires, if all tires or just 2 tires. Low stop like this.
It's very early in the race to even see amount of tires. Like, we're about to hit halfway, but usually we see some of the Mustangs take back tires sometimes.
But it's a slow
in the safety car. In the safety car,
sure.
I would take tires.
I would think as well. Idea. Sure, you know, if you have a chance to take kind of cheat your way to take a couple extras because of the slow pace of the track, why not take a couple more tires? But it depends on track position. If you don't want to get stuck, if you are, you know, if you're aeronom and you don't lose track position because everyone else behind you only takes 2, and now all of a sudden you got to pass 6 cars, that could hurt you. But then again, you'd have the fresher tires, so that's that game you play, right?
All the classes are getting up next to each other too, so it's a full reset of the field.
And that's the right way to do this. I agree with that call.
It is.
Stewards, yeah.
We don't want Mustangs in the middle of the Miatas.
Sure. Yeah, it's absolutely the right thing to do.
Pits are open for the Mazdas, so this is going to be very, very key to see who goes into the pits right here, because they all are in pit window. It's just who's going to take it.
I suspect every car we're seeing is probably heading into the pits now, except maybe our safety car.
Yeah, I told you the safety car wasn't going to go in.
Robert Brist did not go in, so choosing to stay out another lap. But all of our Miatas?
Yeah,
let's see who takes tires and see if they take 2 or take all 4.
Well, Robert is doing something incredibly unique. He's keeping the same speed as everyone else is, and he's got a massive gap to the rest of the Mustangs. If he comes back next white, if we go back to green next lap, he's going to get a big lead. And winning the race off pit road is going to be John Allen.
Well, I'm seeing at least one car taking right side tires. That's Robert Hartley. He's taking right side tires. I saw his right side go up. But John Allen, Elvis Rankin, and a few others are not. Like, damn, they are not taking right sides. They're only taking lefts.
It's very aggressive left side circuit, but you know, 4.
It'll be interesting. I'm really curious now, because we know we're gonna have specific drivers that we know, like Hartley, who took all 4. What's his pace going to be like in the 50th minute of this race on those left corners like turn 1, having taken right side tires? Turn 1, turn 2 and 3 complex, and the right turn corners. Excuse me, the left turns.
All right. Well, if you ever seen traffic being conducted and you feel like it's a crazy bit, you're about to be seeing that again. The Mustangs have been ordered to get in front of the Monzas before the start of the next lap, which I believe we might be going to green next time by. But what Robert Burst is doing at the front of this grid, he's still staying at the same speed. And they can track his speed live at all times using the SDK live timing software. And we have a live speedometer on there.
Sure.
So they can tell him to go when.
46 miles an hour. We know exactly how fast he's going all the time.
He's actually slower than the rest of the field. They're going about like 55.
He's trying to give them a chance to catch up, and that's what the steward's telling him to do.
And here come the Mustangs.
Yep, so I'm keeping an eye in this Miata pack. How far down Robert Hartley ends up position-wise, knowing that it's Alan.
He's 7th right now.
Ranking
overall.
Schwanke, Prevenus, Patton, Hartley.
Yeah, Hartley is 7th overall, the MX-5s.
Right, but he's got all 4. So yeah, I think someone else took 4 as well, and I couldn't quite catch who that was. I just saw at least it was Hartley. I can tell you by pit stop times, correct?
Yes, you can. I would say that would have been...
Peak.
Yes.
Mitchell Peak, yeah.
Mitchell Peak.
Maybe David Petton also, who 55 seconds, but probably not. Probably
David was involved in that incident.
Okay, so it was probably just Hartley and Peak. Okay. Well, it'll be interesting. See what kind of pace he's got then, if it matters.
And we are going green flag this lap.
All right.
Big shout out to our race control here. They've been tackling this with efficiency right now, and there is Aeronom just right behind Robert Burst, and they get there right. Everyone gets lined up, and we're going back to green flag racing here at Sebring. It's a late start by Robert Burst, and Aeronom tried to jump it a little bit. See it? He had to get onto the brakes. Very earlier action, and there goes Nom down to the inside on those new tires. They're going to go side by side, heading into turn 1. Nom and Brist, and Brist staying very wide.
Hats off to Brist for being the safety car there, but he's about to get just charged by a whole pack.
Oh yeah, he's lifting it. He's letting them all by. He just got onto the radio and say, "I'm just letting you guys by." He was earning his driver dues right there.
Yeah, absolutely. He did fine.
He did a great job, I Burst.
As our Miata's now coming through turn 1, led by John Allen.
Very wide for Allen.
He's got those tires. Absolutely.
And immediately, side by side in the backfield. That's Thorman diving it down. Oh, no, wait, that was Mitchell Peak, and they make contact. Peak, and oh, no.
Peak and
off
Peyton.
Into David Payton, off into the wall.
He's back. He bounced pretty quickly, but he may have a little bit of damage.
Thorman's car looks exactly like Mitchell Peak's, I must say.
Well, we're back to this group at least. Now it's a group of 5 that might be pulling away a little bit. And Hartley is part of that group, which is what I was curious about, is could he make sure he gets around who he needed to stay as part of this group, so that at the end of the race, having just a little bit better tire on all 4 corners. Let's see.
It's Allen, Dam, Rankin, Schwanke, Hartley, the top 5 leading MX-5s. And, well, it was the pack of 6 at the start of this race. It's now the pack of 5. And going way off the track is Elvis Rankin. But he kept his nose forward, and it looked like he didn't even lose a bit of time right there.
And it's that car control. We saw him do the same thing at Lime Rock a couple weeks ago. driving a much bigger, more powerful car to a Miata for him. This is like, it's no big deal. Just sort of steer into the spin and just keep going, and that's what he did, and like nothing ever happened.
Making it look nice. Schwenke around the outside. Elvis Rankin's got a slowdown.
Yep. That right there in those Le Mans S's got himself a course cut.
A little bit of a cut on the track, and
Mitchell Peak's trying to get a draft behind him.
There's Mitchell Peak.
He's trying, but if anything, that's actually going to help Elvis if he's got someone else who can use the draft. But Elvis now has to work to catch back up. He doesn't want to lose too much ground.
Little incident review of the 09 and 60. No incident, no action required after their incident together.
Yeah, that's the Jordy fight, Chris Thorman.
That's what they're out the Saints car.
Yep.
So right on board with Allen, looking back at Mike Dam. As Jeff Jacobs has had an incident, he's fallen down to 4th at the front of the Mustang field.
Let's keep our eye on that. He's still there, but yeah, he must have put a toe wrong somewhere.
Probably went wide in the braking zone. Saw a little bit of dust in the background of that shot.
Kevin Ford seems to be the one that have kind of lost out here in this whole safety car thing in the Mustang crowd, as he had been up there running in second, now down to 5th. So unfortunately for him, he's got some work to do if he wants to get back up into that provisional podium spot.
Oh, penalty issued for Greg Mack. Drive-through penalty entering the closed pit.
Oh, interesting.
Was it Greg in that?
I thought incident? He was a part of that as well, but I'm not a steward. We'll let the stewards do their job. I'm sure they've looked at that replay. They did call out that full course caution very quickly. I will say that in the steward's defense.
We did see a car go into the pits from that incident. I don't know if that was Greg Mack being sent into those pits, though.
I never argue with a steward.
Yeah, that is always true. You should never argue with a steward. We actually have a few stewards here on Apex Racing TV, Marco being the most esteemed one out of that elite group. He can tell you a few interesting stories, especially about scooter racing.
Sounds like fun.
It is. A very fun series. As Allen and Dam, they're going to go side by side. Last time we saw this, the safety car happen. Let's see if they keep it cleaner. Allen going wide, going for that switchback move on Dam. He's got the mid-corner speed, and he is closing in, but Dam just held that line very nicely. Here comes Allen on the straight.
Here's the kind of pace he's got. So thinking about getting forward, fast forward about 20 minutes, we get to around the last lap. If you're ahead going into that corner, it's going to be tough to be passed. If you're trailing, you need to at least be side by side to drag race to the finish. That was almost contact. That was clean, but man, it was close.
It looked like contact. Both of them got very loose off that exit and took a sharp turn left. And man, they're going hard at the front.
They are. They're starting to turn into what that six-pack was about 20 minutes ago, which has me worried, considering how that one worked out. But in the back of this, though, sitting in 5th out of these 6, is the man who's won the championship already in this class, is Elvis Rankin, and he's trying to push his way to the front. He's got 20 minutes good time.
Allen sending it into Hotel Hairpin. Allen's made the move, and he's a big tap by Dam, and now it's a giant pack of cars. They're 5 wide off that exit.
What was I saying about how it worked out previously? Yes, that was contact. Allen actually made a clean pass. He had made the pass, but the exit speed being so much slower, considering he's a bit offline. It's the first time anybody had tried that pass, that corner, I think, already today. And I think it kind of caught the guy sitting in 3rd and 4th a little bit off guard, caused a little bit of that contact. But, hey, you know what?
Some cars have damage now. Elvis Rankin has some front nose damage. Look at the front left of his car. Elvis does have a big dent right there.
Just a little bit, yeah. I think he'll be all right. I don't see these guys losing much pace. He's got a little bit. Mike Dam's got a little bit.
Vegas and Hernan going side by side.
This is going to be tight. This is going to be snug. Real
It
snug
is very
right here.
snug. Tony getting the over-under done on Clint, and now they're still going to be snug, and they're coming up on an MX-5 right there. They're going to catch him on the exit of turn 1. They stop going too wide. Vegas ahead of Kernan. This might get very tight heading into 2.
And I think that's Patrick Preventis right there in the middle of these.
Oh, no.
Yeah, the 29. He's right in the middle of a whole bunch of Mustangs. He's got these 5 behind him, and he's got one in front of him doing the sportsman thing he can do, but this is going to be tough because there's another 3 behind him coming there. Gets this battle out of the way at least. Good job, Patrick.
Yeah, these Mustangs got past that. Oh, my goodness, what are these guys doing?
They're everywhere. This is great.
Well, you know how we said earlier that back 6 was just racing like this, and I said the roles might be reversed. They have been reversed.
We are in full-on reverse.
After the pit stops, it is full-on attack mode. Schwenke, Dam, Rake, and Allen Hartley in the front of this pack, and Peak at the back of it. 2, 3 wide at the front of this grid. Heading into turn 1. It's a very late move by Allen. He gets almost into Elvis Rankin gets just around him. Dan gets very loose off that corner. Schwenke leads him, and he's got a party in his rearview mirror.
I think John Allen had nowhere else to do except I had to, because if he had backed off, he had pressure from behind. He couldn't run wide. He had nowhere else to go. But hey, Elvis, I'm on your inside. Let's go. Makes it through that corner and luckily cleans it out a little bit. And here we go into the next set of corners.
Elvis is on Elvis on the inside of Dam.
Oh, that's all tight.
Very late on the brakes, and they almost make contact. And every corner with these guys is going to make me tense now.
Yeah, you probably should have skipped that second cup of coffee before this race. You're not going to need it.
I don't drink coffee.
Well, the Red Bull, coffee, whatever your drink of choice is, you probably didn't need it today because these guys are going to keep you awake for the next 19 minutes.
Ice cold Coca-Cola, man.
Quit giving sponsors unless they're paying.
Oh, no, that's just personal preference.
But I'm watching Elvis here. Remember, he had that slowdown penalty, dropped him back to the 6 of this group. Yeah, a little wide.
This is not rallycross, guys. Come on.
So Elvis had that penalty, dropped him back to 6th, up to 5th, to 4th, and look at this. Here he is going from 3rd, trying to get up to 2nd. Elvis is just sort of picking away because he wants to be at least in the front 2 or 3 as we come down. Yep.
Oh, my goodness. Allen just shot into the screen right there.
But Elvis is being calculated. He's being calculated. He wants to get up to the front to be in the front 2. He doesn't want to be lower than the 2 as the race progresses, because it's really hard on the last lap to do anything but make one pass. You don't want to be stuck on 3rd on the last lap.
I believe I'm back for the void, and we're going a 3 wide on the back straight.
Oh, yeah, why not? No, Elvis is smart. Back off. He's got teammates up there. No need to take them out.
Very wide goes Schwenke, looking for that over-under move.
Don't need to take out a teammate going into that corner.
Golden rule, never take out a teammate, and we saw sometimes what happens going into Sunset Bend. And here we go, Schwenke round the outside into the lead, but can Dan take it back through turn 1? Elvis Allen trying to sneak and move right here.
Allen doesn't have a teammate. Notice this? All these teammates are being so nice and generous. Allen's doing this. Looks just like last lap. It's like a replay, just from a different angle.
Yeah, completely different angle, but same old action.
Allen does the same thing. That's just how he does that corner. I think he rides that curb, and he's going to be up on somebody's inside. Keep an eye on that if he does that again.
Well, he's going to be on the inside next time, Mike, because he's got Hartley on the outside of him.
He's aggressive. In real life, he owns a Spec Miata. He does. If you've watched any real life Spec Miata races, this does resemble sometimes how Spec Miata races are run, including the contact. My apologies to Spec Miata racers.
Oh, I have a few friends who race in the Global MX-5 series. I remember at the IndyCar race over at Circuit of the Americas, they went 2 wide into the S's, and me and my best friend were sitting in the pits, and we were just watching this, and both of us just went, they are so not going to make it through there, and they did not.
It's really bad when you can call it up front. You can see it coming.
Yeah, it's
more fun when you're surprised by it.
It's even more funny when you find out that one of those guys you've been commentating a few iRacing races with was in that wreck.
Well, with John Allen, I've commentated more than one of his races, that's for sure. I've called a lot of John Allen races. I know he's a very aggressive driver in his Miatas, but I also know he's very precise with his aggression, as we've seen going through that turn 3 left-hander. He's putting it on the curb, he's straddling that curb, but notice he's not causing contact with it.
Alex, he actually hooked that curb going to the Le Mans, and now he's got a good amount of speed. He's down to the inside of Elvis Rankin, and Rankin, he's got a nice amount of speed, but he can't get to the side of Allen, and now the car in front of Rankin is Schwenke, and now we got a very tightly packed group of cars heading into the Sunset Bend. Schwenke onto the inside, Dam onto the outside, Rankin on the outside, Allen onto the inside. All over the bumps they go. And Schwenke has the lead. Elvis Rankin going all the way out to the RV pit wall. They're going to go 2 wide on their fight for 3rd place. Rankin sending it into turn 1, but around the outside, it's just going to be Mike Dam holding it off. In the lead, Schwenke holds off Allen. Allen taps the brakes a little bit, just get readjusted. Side by side, Rankin sends it into turn 3, gets very loose, hooks that curb, and cuts it right ahead of Mike Dam.
And the guy that came out ahead of all of that, really came out the best from all that was going on there, was John Allen. He was sitting back there in 4th from all this stuff, comes out of that sitting in the 2nd spot behind Schwenke.
I think the Mustangs feel a bit left out right here. It's Martineau and Jacobs racing. Cameron has a lot of damage to that front end. I believe that was from the first lap, though.
Yeah, but these guys are putting on quite a battle of their own with what we know that Kevin Ford is trying to work his way up, but this battle here of Martineau and Jacobs, Martineau did have that incident in the first lap, but he's definitely made the recovery. He was down all the way at the back of the pack, which would have been about 8th or 9th. The 9 Mustangs entered. He's working his way to 5th. He's got his sights set on Kevin Ford, a second up the field, but Jeff Jacobs saying, hey, not so fast. I'm right here too.
John Allen takes the lead ahead of Schwenke.
Yep, John Allen, he seems to be coming on strong. And now the point of what you really want to be looking at the last, less than 15 minutes left, you don't want to be lower than 3rd at any point from here to the finish. If you drop to 5th or 6th, it gets really hard to get back up into that top 3. You want to stay 1st, 2nd, or 3rd from here on out.
Mike Dam needs to get into that 3rd spot, and a good line through here. Oh, he's got a great run, but had to check up hard from 2nd and 3rd. Schwenke had a little bit of a mistake, and Elvis caught onto there. And Mike Dam just killed all of his momentum.
Yep, so if you look at this pack, if you are the last 3 in this pack.
Elvis is bump drafting.
Yep, so if you are Dam, Hartley, and
defensive for
Pete,
Allen.
it's going to be tough for them. But if you're up in the front 3, you can more control the positioning. And that's right now what you're going to see in Elvis. You're going to see John Allen and a 3rd driver here as we go. Those guys are going to want to be really dictating these positions.
3 wide around the outside. It's a 16 of Schwenke having the lead of that pack. They're going to be side by side with Allen heading into turn 1. Side by side they go. Allen, Schwenke. Schwenke dies it down low. Schwenke's got the lead. And now here comes Elvis Rankin down the inside of Allen.
Notice who the top 3 are. Same top 3.
Allen,
Schwenke, Allen, and Rankin.
You see that move by Allen? Holding it around the outside. Got off.
Yep.
Got onto the curb. Avoids hitting Elvis Rankin, and man, that was nice.
He's got car control, but this battle's right underway.
Kevin Ford and Tony Kernan side by side through the Le Mans corner. Kevin not letting that beast up at all, holding that last podium's position.
I told you he wanted the win. If he couldn't have the win, he wants to make sure he at least ends up on the podium in the last race of the Mustang here in the Ricmotech series. And he's going to give it all he's got. He's got 12 more minutes to hang on, and he's got a hard-charging Cameron Martineau 2 cars back. And he knows he can't give up the spot to Tony Kernan because Cameron Martineau is going to be coming strong right behind him. So Kevin's got to get away. Hope that Cameron struggles getting around Kernan, because these 3 are going to be a pretty tough battle here for the next 12 minutes.
Both these classes have massive fights going on. But I believe Cameron is struggling with top end speed just a tad bit.
Maybe a bit, but around here, with the way these guys are racing, I don't think it's going to matter much. He's going to be in somebody's draft, whether it's in Kanan's, whether it's in Ford's, or heck, right from the Ford, he can probably even catch a little bit of Clint Vigas' draft if he can manage to, because these are all bunched up. Once we had that full course caution, everyone bunched up, and it's really made this racing very tight.
It was already tight before the caution came out, too, especially in the Mazdas.
Yep. And again, look who the top three are. And just got to keep our eye on that every time we go back to this. Schwenke, Allen, Rankin, and see if Hartley, Dam, and Pete can even crack these top three, because those top three are doing everything they can to stay there and block the others behind them, knowing that it's hard to win outside of the top three at this point.
Allen on that inside. He's going to take the lead. Elvis Rankin also going to take that inside line. He's going to try and take second place from Schwenke. But Schwenke has that speed off the exit, though.
He does. They all have different lines, but they're making them all work. But this is where the charge comes in. This is where the fourth place can't get around these two guys who are fighting for first. Every single time, it's the same thing. But he's trying. Hartley on that inside, but can't make his nose stick in there. Look at this. He's trying. There's nowhere to go.
They're so tightly packed. There's no open room. Allen swings it around the outside of turn two. Allen back into the lead.
Oh, Allen's so good through that section, though. So good control on that ragged edge, just using every inch of curbing to do it.
I can't call a true favorite in this pack. I cannot.
No, I think if the race were to end at turn 4, I think it's John Allen. But I think if the race ends where it does, I like Elvis Rankin. Like his ability to come off the Le Mans S's on the Ullman Straight gives him maybe a bit of an advantage for that last straightaway where the best passing opportunities may be. I think he's a little bit better there than Schwenke and John Allen. But
ooh, Tony got a big wiggle off one of those bumps. Here comes Martineau. But Cameron just can't get onto the power. And as we were talking about favorites, I'm going to have to say Travis Schwenke. He's been leading a lot, and heading across the line, Schwenke's just been getting a better run coming out of the Sunset Bend.
I'm going to think it's going to come down to a 50-50 with Allen and Elvis Rankin. I think those guys are going to be 50-50 because I think Allen is going to keep doing this where he's going to keep his car in front until they come down to the Le Mans S's, and I think Elvis is going to get himself a run coming off of here and give himself a shot to put himself alongside John Allen. I think that's how this is going to play out, but it depends on who's in second, who's in third, and what kind of run you can get. There's enough room here to make a run from third to first.
Allen does have a gap to Schwenke. It's a 4/10 gap. It will be closed up. But if a little bit of shenanigans happen into this S turn right now, into Sunset Bend, like it's happening right here, goes Rankin. They're going to go side by side behind Allen. This might hold him up just a tad bit for Allen to make his move.
And Hartley can't get in there. Every lap he tries, there's just no room to go because these guys are blocking the whole track in front of him. He just can't quite get in there.
And Sebring's a wide track, and when they're blocking the entire track, you know on how little space you can maneuver in.
And Elvis is being very patient here. I think he's watching that clock, watching the lap counter, probably about 4 laps or so to go, and he's letting Schwenke and Allen sort of do what they're doing. But I think Elvis may want to get himself into that second spot with about 2 laps to go. I just wonder if he's waiting for that moment.
As Kernan and Martineau are still battling with each other. Cameron is struggling on these straights as they continue. They've lost Kevin Ford ahead of him as Kevin is now fighting for second place.
Yeah, great job by Kevin Ford to be able to shake them. Like I said, Kevin wanted this podium. He still wants it bad. He knew that he had to shake that battle and let that work out behind him, and he could just focus in on Clint Vigas in front of him, and that's exactly what he's done. And look at Clint right there. He can see him. He can smell him.
Don't think you want to be smelling the other car. If you did, I wouldn't want to meet him in post-race. Let's just talk about the smell of race fuel. Then that is just pure bliss.
The smell of ethanol in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
Although it's sunset here at Sebring tonight.
The smell of ethanol is universal. As Martineau had that inside line coming out of turn 1, can he hold that inside line, or can Kernan swing it around the outside? Gets onto the curb, goes Martineau. They both get onto the curb. They're still going to go side by side heading into turn 4. Martineau is just going to hold it off the exit. Cameron does not get a full car link, so he's going to force him off into the grass. Cameron stays in fourth, but gets up into fourth.
That was a great little battle. Very respectable by both of them to leave each other room, but I don't think we're done yet.
Yeah, they are.
We are not done yet.
Around the outside.
I see a Jeff Jacobs.
I see a Gator.
Jeff's right there saying, hey guys, want to make this
the Gator.
Want to make this a three-way party? He's right there ready to play. And Kevin Ford is battling strong to Clint Vigas. If you look at our ticker there as well. We're not going to go away from this quite yet because they're side by side through 10, heading to 13. This is amazing the way these guys are side by side. Jeff Jacobs has got the best seat in the house right now.
Jeff Jacobs got the best seat in the house. He's probably the most nervous seat in the house because if anything happens in front of him, he is directly in the line of fire. And speaking of a fight, Kevin Ford and Vigas now, they're going to go side by side. The only person not in the fight for the lead, it is Aeronam.
Aeronam is just happy to see the battling behind him, but Kevin Ford now is just really, he's so quick. He's flying around this place. But this battle, this could be for 4th, 5th, and 6th. You know, at this point, any one of these three could finish in 4th the way this thing is going. Oh, look at this. Kevin Ford with that run.
Ford set up. Both those brake discs glowing red hot. Ford puts on the block, holds down that inside line, and Kevin Ford up into 2nd place, and Jeff Jacobs has got a problem.
Where's everybody else? Did Jeff go around?
Big damage on the back. Wait a minute.
He's ahead of Tony Kernan and ahead of Cameron Martineau.
Oh my goodness. Martineau is stopped. Martineau is slow.
We had an
Cameron Martineau has had an incident.
All right, we'll get back to that one in a minute. Clearly something happened. But
Robert
here
Hartley.
in our Miatas.
Hartley got into the back of Schwenke right there. And now here comes Dam trying to look on a spot for Hartley.
But take a look at these. Every time we check back in, I say, who's the top 3? Look, it's still Allen, Rankin, and Schwenke, but Rankin has done what I said he needed to do, is to get himself to the 2nd spot here with about 2-3 laps to go.
Now, he might be in the money spot, but that doesn't mean he's won this race.
And no, absolutely not. No, but if you, again, you needed to stay in the top 3 through this stage. Now we're going to check a replay here of our Mustang incident. As you've got Cameron Martineau coming up to the back of him.
Late move.
Oh, no. Yep. Touched him under braking.
Well, Jeff just made it through there. Lucky.
Yeah, Jeff was able to just sneak on by. That's unfortunate. Cameron just a little bit late on the brakes.
Here comes Elvis going down the inside of Allen. Allen and Elvis side by side heading through the Sunset Bend. Woo-hoo-hoo. Very nicely done by Elvis Rankin, who's got down the inside. Yellow flag for the 29 ahead of him. The blue flag for the...
Blue flag, yep. So here we are with about 2 laps to go, roughly, I'm just guessing, for these Miatas.
There goes Allen.
Yep, and it's still the same 3. Same 3 controlling the race. Rankin and Allen are the 2 that are really kind of controlling this strong. Rankin did what he needed to do to get into that top 2, but it's far from over. But at this stage, with 2 laps to go, it's much better to be in the top 2 because they can start to block out the 3rd place, just like the 3rd place was blocking out 4, 5, and 6. The last 2 laps, it's really hard to make a move from 5 and 6. Big sideways for Elvis Rankin. Big one that he recovered from. Gave John Allen a great run now as they come up towards the turn 7 hairpin.
Allen favoring that outside line, heading down into the hotel hairpin, right on board of our Apex Racing TV helicopter. Elvis sends it down low. Allen round the outside. He's got the better exit. It's going to be John Allen just barely getting some speed off of there, but they're still going to be side by side, nose to nose. Heading into the next turn, Allen's got the advantage by half the car length, and here comes Hartley round the outside for 3rd. Hartley's going to try to get into the top 3. Hartley round the outside. He's got the move.
And remember, Hartley's the one that took all 4 tires, so he's even got left side tires to go with the rights that he has right side tires that everyone took the lefts. So Hartley actually has the freshest tires in his mix. Now he's gotten what that move he needed, and now he's got the move on Rankin.
Very risky move. Hartley into second place. These MX-5s are on fire tonight.
Allen's still at the front, but Hartley makes the moves to go from 4th to 2nd on that little mistake by Rankin that allowed this to bunch up. The side-by-side between Rankin and John Allen allows that move there, that timely, very calculated, well-executed move by Hartley to get himself up to 2nd. But we are far from over. We should be about 1.5 laps to go. These guys should see the white flag next time by. And we'll have 17 more corners once we see it. So this could be interesting. I think the Mustangs probably should be getting the white flag.
They're coming up to Le Mans right now. I believe they already had the white flag.
Yep, so these Miatas should be getting white flag this time by.
Hartley into the lead.
Yep, so now Hartley with Allen, Rankin. And remember, who's got the freshest right side tires for turn 1 and then turn
Robert
3?
Hartley.
Hartley does.
Hartley is set up on the outside. Here goes Allen down to the inside. Allen takes the lead heading into turn 1. Hartley's off the track.
Those are not dirt
We're
tires.
going to go side by side. They're going to go 3 wide. Heading into turn 2. It's going to be Allen leading off Hartley with Rankin in 3rd. No, that's Rankin in 2nd.
But we have a winner. Aeronam taking the overall win. Don't want to miss that one at least. Aeronam winning from the front and taking 2nd. Kevin Ford. Clint Vigas in 3rd to round out your podium in the Mustangs. We'll get back to them with Jeff Jacobs. Looks like he's going to be in 4th. Tony Kernan in 5th. Let's get back to our Miatas as John Allen still leading this 6-pack. Ace of paper right now between Rankin and Hartley. Not even a paper. That paper's crumpled.
That paper is cut through right now. I believe that front bumper, that Mazda is poked straight through it. Allen, Rankin, Hartley, Schwenke, Dam, and Peak, your top 6 in this Mazda fight. As they fight through these corners, Hartley on the freshest tires. Can he get back up into 2nd place and try to challenge for the victory? Elvis Rankin, he knows how to battle up front. John Allen, he doesn't have a teammate up there with him, but we know on how aggressive he can get. Heading into the Le Mans S's for one last time. Who's going to have the run?
Who gets the run onto the Ullman Straight? That's what's going to matter here. Who gets that run? That's what's going to matter. Cheat a little left here, cross the white line. Nice late 8-packs on the gas early.
Not too early.
Who's got the run?
Kept it clean through there.
Does Elvis have the run?
Elvis is buried in that draft. Elvis going down low. Allen has that outside line. Hartley looking and studying on what he needs to do. He's got the tires. It's going to be side by side. Elvis is going to lead him into Sunset Bend. Hartley's going to go down low. Allen can't do the switch right now. Allen's going to try to swing it as far as he can all around the outside. Elvis holding down that inside line. They're bouncing and banging around the bumps. Elvis has got the lead coming out of Sunset Bend. It's going to be a drag race here at Sebring. And the winner of this race is going to be Elvis Rankin by a nose.
Wow. What a race. Not even the last lap. What a race for all of them. As he wins that by, I'm looking at the numbers here. I can't even tell how close that was. Just a nose between he and then behind them for Allen and Hartley. They were side by side across the finish for 2nd and 3rd. Unbelievable.
Yeah, Hartley got there in 2nd place, but what a race we just witnessed in the Mustangs and the MX-5s. And that is a way to end out a season.
Wow. Unbelievable. Yeah, the gap from Allen to Hartley at the finish was, let's see, somewhere around 40 thousandths of a second. And then Schwenke right behind him, just a couple of tenths. Just unbelievable finish there in those Miatas. But what a race. What an absolute glorious race here. What a way to wrap up the season here in this Classic Sprint Series with the MX-5s and with the Mustangs. And what a great way to send the Mustangs out. We had great battles there. Hats off to Aeronam. Great race, controlling this race twice. Had to then kind of take the control back after the safety car. And Kevin Ford. Great run there.
Kevin. Yeah. Fantastic run for Kevin. I believe the only driver that had a boring race this race would be Aeronam. He just left everybody in the dust.
Yeah, Kevin Ford. I mean, hats off to him to do what he did and to set its sights on being on a podium to come up here in second spot in this race at the last race of the Mustangs. Great job in the Ford for Mr. Ford. Clint Vigas coming home in a podium spot there. So great for him as well.
And he said he was going to put this Mustang to good use for one last time. And you're watching the Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series presented by Proformer Elite Texas Graphics. We'll be right back for the podium ceremony and driver interviews. And we're back. And what a race we witnessed here to send out the Mustangs and to end out the season of the Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series. Aeronom takes the victory of the final race, followed by Kevin Ford and Clint Vigas completing that podium. They're followed by Jeff Jacobs, Tony Kernan, David Sanders, Robert Burst, Cameron Martineau, and Steve Daniel, your GS Pro category. Larry, how's the STs looking?
RST race results. What a fantastic race this was. Elvis Rankin taking the win there by just about a tenth of a second over John Allen. Robert Hartley just another half a tenth behind Allen in third spot there to round out that podium. Travis Schwenke in fourth. What a great race by Travis, by the way. Kind of right there in the mix the whole way through. Mike Dam will go home in fifth. David Payton in sixth. Chris Thorman seventh. Jordy Fike in eighth.
And let's not forget about the SD Opens. Mitchell Peak, who was at the end of that 6-car melee at the end of this race, actually putting on a show as he won his category, followed by Jeffrey Cranston, Mike Taylor, Derek Hall, Edgar Sanginelli, Greg Mack, Greg Brockway, Mitchell Key, Patrick Preventis, and Brendan Huron at the end of that 10-car grid. And, man, I can't get over that finish.
Yeah, that was unbelievable. And it wasn't even just the finish. It wasn't like it was 57 and a half minutes of boring stuff followed by a great 2.5 minute final lap. That was 60 minutes from flag to flag. Just incredible action. Unbelievable the whole way through. We had the front six breakaway in the Miatas. The back six did their thing. That was exciting. We had the Mustangs battling constantly. And then we had our yellow flag that kind of brought things back together, changed the scene a little bit, but then different battles formed. Again, a six-pack broke away in the Miatas, and again, strategic battles, just to kind of a chess match forming where you just had to be in the certain spots. And what a great way to watch the battles there of Allen and Hartley and Schwenke and, of course, Elvis Rankin, our eventual winner, just sort of play that out. But then to watch Kevin Ford getting position after position and try to get up into that top three and end up in the top two there in the Mustangs. Just great racing all around. It was beautiful to watch.
Very beautiful. And somebody who had a extremely beautiful race. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our overall race winner, Aeronom, who's standing here with us.
Hey.
Aero, it was a very easy race for you. When the States car came out, did a little bit of strategy come into your mind? Did you get a little bit worried for that?
Yeah, I was trying to figure out how much fuel I need, so yeah, it was very difficult. But I took maybe 3 liters too much, but yeah, still I was able to beat everybody out at the pits.
It was a very hard-fought season for you, with it being the final Mustang season. Is this win special?
Yeah, probably. I think everybody was pretty fast today. Kevin and everybody else are up there, but they almost gave me run for my money today.
Well, you came home with the win, Arrow, and you had a very dominating performance. Before we let you go, anyone you want to thank?
I'd like to thank all the league admins and the sponsors and drivers here. So yeah, and you guys in the booth.
All right. Well, thank you, Arrow. Hope you have a great afternoon, and congrats on your victory and championship.
It's 5 a.m.
Hope you have a great morning and a great day in front of you.
Yeah. See ya.
See ya. And I believe, Larry, who are you standing by?
I believe I've got our winner from the Miatas, Elvis Rankin. I think. We wait for him to join us. Yes, we do. We've got our winner from our Miatas tonight. And I don't even know if he's taking a breath. I've been wiping the sweat away a little bit. Elvis Rankin, wow, that was one heck of a race that you guys just put on. Tell me a little bit about, have you calmed down yet?
No. Coming into the race, just, I knew that I pretty much had the championship won. But I knew that some of the championship positions were still up for grabs, like some of our guys could get second and third was still on the line. So I kind of said, I'm going to take it easy and I'm not really going to get involved in it. That's why I kind of read most of the race, just so they could save fuel and that kind of stuff. But as soon as the safety car went out and I saw everybody racing so hard, I was like, I can't step out on this. I got to get in. So that slowdown really killed me, though. Lost some time and lost the ground, and I had to slowly make it back up. Man, it is hard to pass unless you're in P2, it's so hard to pass.
Well, we noticed that. We saw you drop back to about 6th there with the slowdown penalty, and slowly, about every lap or maybe one lap at a time, you make up one spot, and then a second spot, and then you finally got yourself into that top 3 mix. Where did you want to be on the last, one lap, or at least the last 2 laps? Were you trying to make sure you were in the top 3, or were you just trying to get to the lead on the last lap?
Second, no question. If you were in third, if you can get side by side with somebody into turn 17 into sunset, then you can grip up the inside and you can get there. So that kind of out of turn 1 mess, I really wanted to capitalize and get to second and file in. I didn't necessarily want to take the lead, but I wanted to get to second. So did my best to, get to second and maybe squeezed Rob a little bit there towards the end, so I apologize about that. But yeah, thankfully John didn't block it. He was going to, and then I kind of had the big enough run. He had a big slide, so yeah, it was a good race.
Yeah, you guys all put on a great race. You and Travis and Rob and John and the whole pack, you guys put on one heck of a race. And to come out victorious in that group, you got to feel pretty special about that victory tonight, huh?
No, for sure. I think, Sebring's a track that I really do enjoy. It's my favorite track on iRacing, no question, hands down. And, I mean, it has some amazing racing, that's for one. And I think it proved it tonight, is just because you can come down the backstretch of turn 17, you can be 3 wide if you want. We could have done it multiple times. And then you can come around to turn number 1, and you can be 3 wide as well. So I think it has so many good corners, and it makes such good racing. And it did not disappoint letting me down tonight. But, yeah, overall, qualifying went really good. Qualified on pole by 6/10, so I'm super happy about that. And, yeah, it's just amazing.
Yeah, you definitely showed that it's one of your favorite tracks out there tonight. You were very well calculated in your strategy, even not letting a simple course cut penalty slow you down to make sure you got back up to the front of that. So, well-deserved win tonight. Anybody you want to thank here at our season finale for this season?
Yeah, for sure. I want to thank Orion Race Team for picking me up, picking all of our guys up, and really supporting us throughout the entire season. And I'll tell you what, we cannot wait to come back. We're for sure going to. So we all can't wait to come back. I want to thank our sponsors for our team. I want to thank JRT, Joel, and I want to thank HPP Mark. Those guys for supporting our race team. My teammates tonight, Mike Dam, Robert Hartley, Trav Schwenke. We had so much fun together, and that's why we drive the Mazda all the time, is because we have so much fun doing it. And Mike, he was kind of talking to us before the race, and he said, I don't like the Mazda as like a hot lap drive by yourself car, but as a race car and racing, oh my gosh, it's really fun. I think that's why we all drive it.
Yeah, well, it's fun to watch too. It was great.
I want to thank my mom, my dad, my grandma, my grandpa for supporting me throughout the entire season. And I want to thank our team manager, Frosty St. Clair. I want to thank the league tonight, Extreme 99, Ricmotech, for putting this whole deal on. We couldn't do it without them. The admins tonight, Kevin Ford, Jeff Jacobs, Ryan Cobb for adminning the race tonight, calling that full course yellow, and just keeping all the calls clean. Bobby Childs and Russ Ruddock for just putting this whole deal on. And just, without them, we couldn't do this. And Rick, who owns the Extreme, we couldn't do without him. So thank you guys so much for putting this on. And then, obviously, you guys at Apex Racing TV for broadcasting.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that. And appreciate watching you. It was a blast. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in our first race next season. I'm sure you'll be back in another one of these MX-5s, ready to put on another display of excitement.
Oh, we'll be back.
All right. Thanks, Elvis.
Yep.
All right, Austin. So that was a whole lot of fun. We've got one more with us. It's Mitchell Peak.
Yeah, Mitchell Peak won his class, and I would say he had the best seat in the house. He was just sitting at the back of that front six pack up there, and he had a great show in front of him. Mitchell, how was that race?
That was a lot of fun. It was awesome to be up there with the pro guys tonight, and yeah, you're right, best seat in the house. I was just hanging back behind those 5 guys and kind of letting them battle it out, hoping that, something might get a little hairy and I'd get an opportunity in there. My goal tonight was just to pretty much hang with the lead pack. I was pretty far behind in the standings for the championship tonight, so it's going to be pretty close with the 6th place finish, but I don't think it's quite enough. But yeah, what a great race tonight. Super happy with the result, and just had a blast out there.
Well, it was very fun to watch that front fight. It probably was more fun in your seat because you were actually hanging with them. Was there any point of that race where you just wanted to just try to send it and try to go for that overall win?
There was a few times where I just thought about sending it and seeing what happened. But, I mean, all these guys are like super tough racers. And, I mean, I was just doing some late braking at times just to try to get up alongside them. And I was like, I'm never going to make the corner if I just throw it in there. So there was a couple of times where I had a good run out of into the sunset corner there and tried to get a good run out and get them into turn 1. And there was a couple times where right into turn 2 and 3 there, I tried to throw it up the inside, but these guys are just so good. It's so hard racing against them.
Well, you definitely hung in there, and you definitely put on a great show, and you won the championship, by the way.
I won the championship?
I believe you did.
No way, that's crazy. I can't believe that. I thought it was too far gone, being 9 points back, but man, that's awesome. Thanks for letting me know that. That's yeah, it feels good. It's a really long season, had its ups and downs. I think I got 5 wins in the open class this year, but there was some really messy races out there too. So got to work on the consistency, but I think tonight and my race over at Mosport showed that I'm ready for the move up to the pro class. So I'm looking forward to the challenge next year.
Yeah, it is a great race for you and a good win. Before we let you go, anyone you want to thank?
Definitely a shout out to Extreme Motorsports. They put on a great series, and big shout out to you guys in the broadcast room because it's always awesome to watch it live on or the playbacks on YouTube and everything. Definitely thank the team because without them, I wouldn't be nearly as fast as I am. So, just big thanks all around. Super happy to be part of the series, and yeah, just looking forward to the next series starting up next year.
All right, thank you, Mitchell. Larry, any closing comments?
Oh, I just had so much fun watching that battle here with these Miatas. I think it's by far some of the most fun racing you can watch the entire sim, and seeing Mitchell part of that pack, and looking forward to seeing Mitchell part of this group next year for sure.
All right, I am certainly very excited for that. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here on Apex Racing TV for the Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series. It was a wild finale, but there is still one more race left. And that would be as we end this season, I must say we do have that one final race to announce, and that is.
I believe it's going to be the sports car series.
It is
1 week from tonight
over at Sebring. So we aren't leaving Sebring, but it is going to be ending out this season and then the next Ricmotech round. Oh, I can't wait for this. The Ricmotech World Challenge launches up for their 2021 season opener, January 18th. Is going to feature a lot of cool stuff, and I could tell you that's probably going to be one of my favorite series ever. I'm going to be watching and hopefully commentating on.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. So some really great things coming up from this Ricmotech series. So keep your eye on that, and keep your eye on Apex Racing TV for all the great action.
I've been joined by Larry. We got Alex Simpson and Dennis Branch in the production booth, and I'm Austin. I hope y'all have a fantastic night.